and welcome back to another episode of On the Couch with Shuntai and
Johnell Allen Bay.
Hey.
So are you still excited?
I'm still excited.
I'm still excited
Yes.
because we still have the prophet
Yes.
on the couch.
Yes, we have Pastor Torres Simpson, as he was talking about the topic of our show is the making of a prophet.
Yes.
As we alluded to. So I always thought when it came to a prophet that it was something that just evolved.
Okay.
I never knew that a prophet was already identified. It was already in the distance.
Right. And I think he's clarified some misconceptions I had. I thought that, how you decipher from the calling of a pastor and a calling of a prophet.
Well, first of all, when you talking about the identity and the involvement of how the prophet come forth, you look at the scripture in Jeremiah.
Okay.
God speaks to Jeremiah and said, "For I knew you in your mother's womb." Mm-hmm. And then he goes on to say, "I predestined you to be a prophet before the nation."
Okay.
So it was before his conception. God had already planned for him to be that prophet.
Okay.
Okay, so when you talk about the offices of the church, you have the evangelist, you have the pastor, you have the prophet, and then also you have the teacher. And you talk about these things from the finger, the hand of God. The smallest finger is the teacher.
Okay.
They don't get much clarity. They don't get much recognition, but their teaching is powerful.
Yes.
And then you have the pastor, which is the marriage hand finger,
right?
Which represents the marriage, the love, the connection of bringing God to marriage with His people.
Okay.
Then you have your longer finger, the evangelistic finger. This is the evangelist that can go further than any other because they know to go around the world preaching the gospel and evangelizing the people. Then you have the point finger, which is the prophet.
Okay.
Which makes the difference that God has to point that man, and whenever God points to something, He empowers it to do miracle signs and wonders.
Okay.
And then you have the thumb, that is a representation of the apostle. That's the only finger that can touch all fingers to give it that gratification on the apostolic power that comes from God.
Wow. So, I mean, listen, that's an enlightenment right there. That's a lesson right there to be learned, right? Yeah. So, operating in your gift as pastor and prophet, what is the advantages and disadvantages?
The advantage of operating, because you have some people that have some of the gifts.
Okay.
But to operate in the full power of all the gifts, sometimes you have to. The advantage is you're able to work in many offices. The disadvantage is that you're able to work in many offices.
Right. Okay.
So it keeps you busy on all seams. And the most powerful thing as being a prophet is to be able to hold the secrets of God.
Wow.
And God can share with you secrets of people's lives, and you have to have the maturity to be able to handle that secret, and not to exploit them, and not to put it out there before time or disgrace them, Right. And so that comes with the call of that pastorship to show the love, and so that when God reveals that to you, you're able to give it to them and disperse it the right way. The disadvantage is that sometimes you hold secrets that you just, you have to continue to pray about, and you hold baggage that you didn't, it wasn't yours,
right?
And so you have to continue to carry, and to God allow that person to be released from whatever baggage and whatever thing that they're going through. God will put it on that prophet to hold it, to pray for it, to nourish it until it come to pass.
So how does a prophet with so much to give to the world, so much as far as the secrets that you hold, how do you find time for self-care, and what does that look like?
I make it a priority.
Yeah.
I make it a priority. Self-care to me is being with my family.
Okay.
I'm not a person that wander the street. I'm not a person that stay out late, because my home is my home.
Right.
It's not my house. It's not just a place I come to because that's my address.
Right.
I come there because it's a peace there.
Okay.
There's a peace there, and that there's a love there. And so that gives me a release when I'm around my family. So I separate family from church.
Okay.
I separate family from church. Even though I'm the pastor and I'm prophet at home, and I'm with my family, I separate it. I make sure that I'm a father and that I'm able to give that stuff a little bit. A lot of times, me and my wife, we take time. We go get pedicures. Every day we're together. We're together. That's self-love enough for me.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know she enjoys that.
Oh, yeah.
So, in thinking about your responsibility, thinking about being a prophet, just operating in that gift, anytime do you find yourself guilty because of where you come from, and then to be given this anointment, the ultimate anointment, where you were in the streets, right? And now you have been transformed into this mighty figure of God. And when we come back, I want you to expand on that energy and how it works right now in your life.
On the Couch with Shuntai and Johnell focuses on educational, humorous, and insightful topics based on extraordinary lives of real people. Each episode provides real talk from real people.
You desire to have that family. Okay. You desire to maintain it, have a mother, a father, and a child. And I struggled with that because my husband was abusive.
Coaching is about pulling out what's already there and helping you see what's already there.
Who gave you the authority to say that you're the king of Brandon?
I don't want to be with nobody. I'm not playing any games. I want to get my career. I want to get going with my life and establish myself in what I want.
Join Shuntai Hill, a certified counselor, and Johnell Allen Bay, a life coach and relationship expert, weekly for On the Couch with Shuntai and Johnell. Shuntai Hill and Johnell Allen Bay are the king and queen of relationships. Each week, the couple engages their audience with hot, sexy topics about relationships for the grown and sexy. The show is interactive, fun, and real.
Our next topic. I got drunk. Hold on. I got drunk the other night, and my girl grabbed my ears from behind. So she was behind him, grabbed his ears, and then he smacked her. I immediately apologized, but to be honest, I meant it, and I knew it was her. I felt horrible about hitting her, but I felt good at the same time. What's up with this?
Tune in weekly to She Say, He Say with Shuntai Hill and Johnell Allen Bay. For more information, visit shesayhesay.media.
And welcome back. We have with us today Pastor Torres Simpson as he talks about making of a prophet and his path to being a prophet.
We left off, we asked a question about the transition from where you have been when you were younger and now being this anointed, mighty man of God, and being able to possess that gift. Is there any time that you feel like, oh my God, do I deserve this? You know what I'm saying? Yes. How is that? Could you really talk about that?
I believe that's what keeps the balance of my life, because every time or every day I wake up, it's like a dream to me.
Okay.
Being chosen in that area by God, being chosen as the model that God has to represent, to bring word to humanity is a weight by itself.
Okay.
And and I think about the scripture when Peter was on the boat and Jesus came after they had fished all night and they couldn't find nothing or catch nothing. And then Jesus said, because you've been fishing on the wrong side. He said, cast your net on the right side of the boat. And through that conversation, Peter got so afraid. He says, I feel like you shouldn't be talking to me. I'm a man with unclean lips.
Right.
And so when you have that great of power come upon you and to be able to move in that, I believe the humble part will keep me to the point where I fast. There's times I went on a fast, 40 days without eating, 21 days without eating. My ultimate fast was 120 days without eating. And that shows, when you know that you've been sent for a purpose.
Yeah.
You try not to get off your purpose or what you've been sent for. God would give you things on the way, but you can't allow those things to consume you.
Right.
You consume you. And so I believe by staying in God's face, it keeps me in a humble place. If I ever get away from his face, then I probably would lose my humbleness.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does God speak to you?
Wow. It comes in so many ways. I can see a vision, or he just is the gentle voice that how he speak. I know his voice.
Yes.
He'll give it to me, or I can have a dream. It can come in multiple ways. The biggest thing is just me staying open.
Okay.
Yeah, me staying open, and it's a daily walk. It's nothing that I have accomplished or conquered. For even Paul says, I'm trying to apprehend that which apprehended me. So it's something you're chasing after God. And as you're chasing after God, God began to just drop little nuggets out. Yeah. Some you didn't know, drop little things out. And then I can get in the atmosphere of people and God will start speaking. I don't just speak out of order. He'll show me something.
Right.
But when it comes time, or if it gets the opportunity to present itself, I speak it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll speak it. Johnell have been in a room when something like that have happened, and it was
a few minutes
real,
ago,
right? So it comes, and, and God loves His people.
Right.
God loves His people.
So I have another question, if you don't mind, Johnell, about when God speaks to people, the prophet, God speaks to you as a prophet, you're able to prophesize on others. The normal person that has a relationship with God and they're spoken to, what is that considered? When just the average person with a relationship with God, that doesn't mean they're a prophet. They just hear from him.
They hear from you. And I can always relate it to the stories in the Bible.
Okay.
You can go back to Moses and his sister, Miriam, and his brother when they came up against Moses, and God asked them a question when He came. He says, "Why didn't y'all have fear when you talked to Moses?" And the very thing they didn't have fear because they said, "God, speak to us too," And then God allowed her to become a leopard because He said to her, He said, "I speak to you," but He says, "But my prophet Moses, I speak mouth to mouth." So there's a difference.
Wow.
Okay.
There's a difference, that Moses is getting it. How can I say it? He's getting the first fruit. God is covering him, and to speak mouth to mouth. You think of mouth to mouth as when you have a child, and that child is watching you eat something that's very hard to digest, and how Big Mama or Mama used to chew that food up,
right.
Just chew it up enough so that she could just take a bit of that out of her mouth and put it in that child's mouth. You ain't gonna just do that with nobody else's children.
Right.
You're gonna do that with your children, someone that's close to who you are or close to you. And so when you think of mouth to mouth, God would give it to me in that type of realm,
Right.
And so He can speak to many people, but the thing is, can you open up what He spoke?
That's powerful.
That is powerful.
That's the best thing you can understand, the revelation of it. How many times you done had dreams and you done had things happen in your life and you first thing you say, God is saying something, but I don't know what it is.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
It's got to be something, right?
It's got to be something. And then you have that person that come and clarify and put all the things you went through together and make it a Picasso.
Yes.
Where you're able to see it, walk in it, and enjoy it.
Yes.
That's how the prophet does.
Wow.
Amen.
Wow, that's amazing. So we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to get into some more with the prophet.
On the Couch with Shuntai and Johnell focuses on educational, humorous, and insightful topics based on extraordinary lives of real people. Each episode provides real talk from real people.
You desire to have that family.
Okay.
You desire to maintain it, have a mother, a father, and a child. And I struggled with that because my husband was abusive.
Coaching is about pulling out what's already there and helping you see what's already there.
Who gave you the authority to say that you're the king of brand?
I don't want to be with nobody. I'm not playing any games. I want to get my career. I want to get going with my life and establish myself in what I want.
Join Shuntai Hill, a certified counselor, and Johnell Allen Bay, a life coach and relationship expert, weekly for On the Couch with Shuntai and Johnell. Shuntai Hill and Johnell Allen Bay are the king and queen of relationships. Each week, the couple engages their audience with hot, sexy topics about relationships for the grown and sexy. The show is interactive, fun, and real.
Our next topic. I got drunk. Hold on. I got drunk the other night, and my girl grabbed my ears from behind. So she was behind him, grabbed his ears, and then he smacked her. I immediately apologized, but to be honest, I meant it, and I knew it was her. I felt horrible about hitting her, but I felt good at the same time. What's up with this?
Tune in weekly to She Say, He Say with Shuntai Hill and Johnell Allen Bay. For more information, visit shesayhesay.media.
So welcome back to our episode 3 of With the Prophet, Making of the Prophet. Wow. So we left off when we were talking about some things, but we want to get into some more depth. And Shuntai had a question.
Right. So in what ways are prophets relevant today?
In 2021.
In 2021.
There's so many things that we're faced with today in this world. That's things we never saw happen before, things that we never thought that we experienced. Let's use this pandemic for instance. You know, the world called it a pandemic, but God has a word for it as well. It's a plandemic.
Plandemic.
It's a plandemic, meaning that God has planned some things that's relevant for us to this day, that if we can get past the darkness of this world, we can be able to share in the light of what God has shown us. You never get light before darkness. If you go to the Genesis, the Bible talks about how void the earth was, how dark the earth was, and then God says, let there be light, meaning Genesis, meaning that there was a new start, a fresh start, you know. And so through this pandemic, we're getting a fresh start. You're seeing people get more now than they ever had. So what makes it relevant is that God allowed that prophet to speak in dark places, in dark moments, because people are witnessing dark times in their life now more than ever.
Yes.
And so it's very relevant for the prophet to bring a light to a dark situation in the realm that we are in now.
Okay. So I want to ask you, what's the biggest challenge that you face as a prophet?
The biggest challenge. I believe the biggest challenge is, just getting over people trying to target you.
Okay.
Because you have a validating word always comes with sorcery as well.
Okay.
You know, it comes with a fight to delegate what's right and what's wrong. You know, to speak into when people are doing wrong,
right,
and to stand on the truth. You know, and it will make friends become foes.
Wow.
You know, it will make because people don't want to hear the truth.
Right.
People don't want to hear the truth. So when you begin to stand on that truth and you begin to speak what's right, you know, that challenge of allowing people to get in their feelings, you have to learn to let it be numb to you.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to learn to let it be numb to you and speak it anyway. No matter how you're gonna look at me or how you're gonna feel about it, I still love you. Just because I tell you what's right don't mean I don't love you.
Right.
It just means I love you even more, you know? And so that's one of the biggest challenge, not letting your feelings get in. And when God tell you to say something, do something with a person that you know you're close to or you love, to tell them what's right.
So are prophets recognized universally across many faiths?
Yes. A person, when a church, I get a lot of times going to different churches is when a pastor need a prophet to come in to see where the church is going in this new place or where they're at, and that's what prophets was called then. They was called seers.
Okay.
That mean that God would give them the challenge, the power to see beyond. That's why they connected with eagles, because eagles, they sight on how they can zoom in and see things so far off that other animals can't see. And also the eagle is the only bird that can fly closest to the sun, And so we carry that as we go to different churches. They'll call me in to prophesy or to just tell the church where it's going in this, this next season. And that be universal churches. It could be Baptist, it could be Kojic, it could be First Presbyterian, whatever it may take, but they see prophets all as the same.
So coming back, where the world is now opening back up, are you getting a lot of calls now from churches to be able to, so that you can validate that it's okay to come back?
Yes.
Okay.
We're getting calls now, but I'm still to the point where we're going over, where I'm gonna go, if I'm gonna go at this time or not, because us as a church now, we haven't opened yet.
Okay.
And that was from a word from God that, we setting out for next month to open, and it would be wrong for me to go to another church and I haven't opened my church yet.
Okay.
But I tell you what, the new wave, the new era where God has taken us to is social media, and it's a powerful thing that you're able to touch way more people through social media and through that gift, and to see how many people have came to God through this pandemic, through our social media, is just amazing.
So this pandemic has actually changed the way
Yes,
we see the church and the way church does business.
I believe church now, God is showing us that church has become a studio.
Okay.
Church, he talks about preaching, taking the gospel to all four corners of the earth.
Okay.
And then Jesus even told his disciples that when I come back, there would not be one stone left at the church that you are so amazed over. And I believe that a lot of people lost their sanity and their Christianity because they were so connected to the church that they forgot who the creator of the church was.
Right.
And so sometimes God has to close down what we so associated with so that we can get back into association with who called us in the first place. Wow. And when we learn that it wasn't the building, we are the church, and it is for us to get ourselves back close to God and know that the rudiments of the kingdom is in us, not in the building.
Wow. So I want to ask you this, and what is your prophecy of where we're going next in our world? Because I know something's hitting you.
I believe that where we're going next and what God is showing me is that the government wants to rule everything. The government wants to rule everything. So what's happening is trying to get rid of paper money. It's trying to get rid of paper money so that it can have a control over who gets what and who and who's able to go beyond riches. Because Big Mama kept money up under a pillowcase, and so in that it's taking everything to electronics. Because if you could be rich today, and I can push a button and make you poor tomorrow. And so we have to be very careful where this world is going. That's why we got to continue to pray. Okay. We got to continue to give God who he is, because in all actuality, the government can't overpower God.
Right.
Okay. So y'all heard it first here, the prophecies of what's happening here on the couch with Shuntai and Johnell.
This has been great
with
conversation.
Prophet Taurus Simpson.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us for our fourth season. We kicking it off right.
Amen.
Right.
Amen.